baddest, Talladega. Reach up there and pull those belts tight.
This is as intense as it gets, folks.
Fans by the thousands waving their hands from side to side.
You can hear the roar of the crowd over the thunder of the motors.
Right now, those drivers' hearts are pounding out of their chest.
Green flag goes in the air. It is showtime at Talladega.
It's knuckle to knuckle.
Wheel to wheel, side by side, as they still stack them up double wide.
Oh, we have a problem. 10, 15 cars all crashing together.
He's on the roof.
He's upside down. He's spinning. Flips up into the air.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5 barrel rolls.
It barrel rolls 7, 8, 9 times. Allison gets up in the air.
The lead belongs to anyone who dares to go for it.
This is unbelievable.
Side by side.
They're going to shoot it up the gut.
Getting gobbled up by the pack.
Here comes that highline charge.
Up to the inside.
Hardly any of those seats are being used.
One throttle here in Talladega.
The outside, trying to get the lead.
Trying to block him high and low.
They're door handler, door handler.
He wants to take one more shot. And there's the checkered flag.
What a fantastic finish.
I was out of breath myself the last lap, and I'm up here.
If you weren't a NASCAR fan, you became one today.
Welcome, race fans, to the Talladega Superspeedway. When it comes to NASCAR racing, it just doesn't get any bigger. 2.6 miles of high-banked asphalt, and danger lurks around every corner. It's much easier said than done to miss the big one, but sometimes it can wipe out half the field. But in a young man's sport, the last winner was 50-year-old Mark Martin, the latest Hendrick driver to make his mark. Jeff Gordon comes in once again as the championship leader, and his team could score an unprecedented fourth straight win from its fourth different driver if, and only if, Talladega's favorite son, Dale Earnhardt Jr., can get his first win of the season. Get on your feet, race fans. It's the Talladega Superspeedway. Some drivers hate it, but every fan loves it, and it's race day in Talladega. Hello, everybody, and welcome to NASCAR Race Day, built by the Home Depot. I have one question for you. Does it get much better than this? We're at Talladega on this beautiful day with all these great race fans, and man, it simply doesn't get much better. We have senior excitement, Jimmy Spencer, and Kenny Wallace with us, driver of the number 28 Nationwide car. And Kenny, you know what, man? This is set up for a heck of a day.
Race fans, I got to get out of my seat. I got to sit on the desk. I got to explain something to you. This is Talladega, baby. You're not going to hear the driver going, my car's pushing. My car's loose. What you will hear the driver say is, that guy hurt my feelings. He didn't go with me. Why didn't he push me? Doesn't he love me? They'll say all these things, but you know the biggest thing they're going to say today? Earnhardt!
I tell you what, 12 of the last 20 races have had a winner outside the top 20. The last 10 laps, this racetrack, fans, there is nothing in the world like it. I don't know why the people pay for seats, because they're going to stand the whole 500 miles. They're 3-4 wide racing. You're not going to hear about track position. All you're going to see is some damn good racing.
Yeah!
And sometimes it doesn't matter who's leading on turn number 4, because sometimes the winner is determined in the last 100 feet after 499 miles of racing here at Talladega. Now let's bring in our good friend Wendy Venturini with the Shell Garage Report. And Wendy, is it as exciting down there as it is out here?
Good morning, John. Do you ever think the word boring and Talladega could go together? Because somebody might describe the garage area as a little bit boring this morning. Let's use the word quiet instead. I prefer quiet over boring when we talk about Talladega. It's very quiet in the garage. Why is that? Well, yesterday after qualifying, these cars were impounded. These crew guys came in at 8 o'clock this morning. They have 6 hours to get these cars through the tech inspection line. No big deal, but it is pretty slow. No last-minute changes will be made to these race cars. Now let's talk about the optimism of Talladega for Earnhardt Ganassi Racing. Martin Truex, who starts third today, coming off a great finish in Phoenix. He'll be starting behind his teammate, the pole sitter, Juan Pablo Montoya, his first pole in NASCAR. Congratulations to Juan, who will lead the pack at the start of today's race. Now, lastly, we got to mention the excitement that we have here at Talladega. We saw it yesterday in the nationwide race. Matt Kenseth, he took a little ride on his lid. But Matt Kenseth's okay for today's race, but you never know what can happen on these super speedway races. Talk about the excitement. David Ragan in victory lane for the first time in his NASCAR career. That was long time coming for David Ragan. Congratulations, and we'll hear from David Ragan later on in NASCAR Race Day. Now, as we know, anything could happen here. For more on that racetrack, let's head over to Hermie Sadler. That's where the real action is today.
Well, thank you, Wendy, and I'm standing dead center of the tri-oval here at Talladega Superspeedway, the place where every start-finish line exists at every track NASCAR goes to, except Talladega. Here, the start-finish line is way on the other side of the tri-oval, down towards turn 1, and you can imagine how different would the record book look if the start-finish line were right here like it is everywhere else. Let's take about a couple examples. Yesterday's Nationwide Series race, as the guys on the last lap come through the tri-oval, and where the start-finish line usually is, that's where Dale Earnhardt Jr. is trying to make a move around Ryan Newman. They make contact, allows David Ragan to slide right through the middle, get to his first ever NASCAR victory. Now, last fall, the most controversial finish we've had in NASCAR in some time. Coming right through the tri-oval, Regan Smith trying to pass Tony Stewart. He gets forced below the yellow line. He thinks he wins the race. NASCAR says, you cannot go below this yellow line. This start-finish line location breeds exciting finishes. It'll breed another one today. And look at it, folks, right here. This yellow line, it's out of bounds. Who's going to go out of bounds today, JR?
I think by the time all is said and done, Hermie, a lot of cars will be down below that line. And here's how exciting a finish is at Talladega. Sometimes you don't know who won until the checkered flag waves. Well, last time we raced here, we didn't know until after the checkered flag wave. Let's take a look at 2009 championship standings. Spence and Kenny Wallace, Jimmy Johnson, and Jeff Gordon are in firm control of this thing, but they got Kurt Busch breathing down their neck.
Yeah, you know, Kurt Busch wasn't a factor last year. Here he sits in the top 5. Denny Hamlin, Tony Stewart right there. Cliff Boyer, whole brand new team, Kenny. He's 6. That's incredible.
And the big surprise of the year, a pleasant surprise, David Rudiman in 9th for Michael Waltrip Racing. Of course, Casey Kane rounds out the top 10, 257 back.
Running solidly in 10th, but right behind him, Jeff Burton, Matt Kenseth, and Mark the Kid Martin moved up to 13th with his victory.
Now, I'm going to tell you, he's only 9 points out of 12. But you know what, fans? It's getting closer every week. Look at the guys in this battle for the 12. Harvick, Ryan Newman, Brian Vickers, Dale Earnhardt Jr., and Stremming. These guys are way outside of the top 12. Don't forget, Mark Martin's only 9 out. This is going to be a battle. They're going to go all the way down to the end of the year, baby. This is going to be big year for the top 12.
And remember, Spence, that 400 mark, that's important because that's where the cutoff is as well. That's all the way back to 20. But, Kenny, sometimes where you are in points can dictate how you want to run here.
Race fans, listen to what I have to tell you. Inside that garage area, you have these crew members, you have these sponsors, and they want pride. They tell their driver, hey, run up front for me. Run up front. If you wreck, so what? That's what a lot of the crew members say. They want the pride of their car running up front. But take Jimmy Johnson, for example, last year. Jimmy Johnson said, look, I want to make sure I'm in the top 12 in the points. The last Talladega last year, Jimmy Johnson rides around the back, gets a 9th place finish. The bottom line here is where you are in the points dictates how hard you can run this race. Do you want to wreck? Then go on up there and wreck. Do you want max points? Race accordingly. Jimmy Johnson, all these guys have ran these races like this.
Some guys go maximum points, other guys go wreckers or checkers here at Talladega, and that makes this racetrack what it is. We got to take our first break here on NASCAR Race Day. When we come back, Mark the Kid Martin and Carl Edwards.
Who says he's dangerous behind the wheel? Mark's win last week proved he's still got it. And he joined 3 others who won after they hit the big 5-0. I smell a flashback. Coming at you, NASCAR Race Day, built by the Home Depot.
NASCAR Race Day is built by the Home Depot. Visit homedepot.com/spring. More saving, more doing. That's the power of the Home Depot. Brought to you in part by Advance Auto Parts. Keep the wheels turning. And by KFC. Stop on Monday, April 27th for a free piece of Kentucky Grilled Chicken.
Today is the 80th Sprint Cup race run on the high banks of the Talladega Superspeedway. The pavement has changed, but the idea is the same. Survive till the end, and you have a chance of winning. But for the number 99 team and Carl Edwards, this place has been a mixed bag. 9 races, has 1 top 5 and 3 top 10s, but they are hoping to change that history today with the power of the Duck on board. Let's go down to Hermie Sadler.
Yeah, Jay, I was standing by with Carl Edwards. Now, first important question I need to ask you, did you ever see the movie Stroker Race?
Yes, I did. I love that movie.
You remember the guy up in the booth, the old guy that all he said the whole time was, "I know nothing, I'm merely the messenger"?
Yeah, I know that guy.
Okay. I know nothing, I'm merely the messenger, but I was told that we had to go back and revisit last fall's accident here. So what they told me to ask you was, has Greg Biffle kindly asked you not to help him win today?
That's not what's written on that paper.
I had to bring it back to a G-rated.
Yeah, Greg has not asked me to stay away from him, but I will not be pushing Greg into turn 3 sideways and wrecking the field today. At least that's not my plan. So hopefully it goes lots better than that. I got a real nice Claritin car. They make liquid gels. I told them if they can make the car out of that, that'd be great. I might need it, but hopefully I won't. So yeah, I'm going to try to stay away from that.
Well, the cool thing is you were open and honest about the fact that, hey, I'm Carl Edwards, but I made a mistake. What have you learned from that since then?
Well, yeah, I mean, they say, what is it? When you don't get what you want, you get experience. So I got a little experience there. And, you know, I mean, we're put in this box here with these restrictor plates, and you see mistakes all day long, and some of them turn into giant wrecks like that. Usually they don't wreck 4 of your teammates, but yeah, that was worst case for me. And I learned that, you know, you can hold back all day and be careful, but you've got to do that not just 95% of the day. You got to be careful all the way to that start-finish line. I mean, you can wreck that thing in the tri-oval and not make it to the finish line. So definitely a little more caution today. We want to get out here with a car in one piece.
Well, you guys have been fast all year, and it seems like one thing after another is keeping you guys from winning. But the speed is there. You got to feel good about knowing that your car's fast every week.
Right, our cars are great. You know, I'd love to get a win here at Talladega. You know, I haven't won on a super speedway. Finished second at Daytona, but you know, it'd be great to get that win. And you know, these guys have been working real hard. I have a feeling we've got just as good a team as we did last year, but like you said, we just had a little bit of bad luck. So hopefully we can just get out of here, good points day, maybe a win, and move on.
We appreciate you joining us on race day. Carl Edwards will be looking for his first super speedway win. He's coming off 2 straight top 10s, JR.
Hermie, thanks a lot. And Carl Edwards is always a good sport, is always willing to joke around with us a little bit. But there's no joke about it that NASCAR is a young man's game. But last week in Phoenix, Mark Martin proved that he is ageless. He became the 3rd oldest man ever to win a NASCAR Cup event. And he also ended a 97-race drought dating back to 2005. It's one thing to win in your 40s, but quite another to do it on the other side of 50.
They may call him the old man, but he hasn't forgotten how to win a race.
Mark Martin has waited for 4 years to go back to victory lane and claim his 36th career win, and he has done it, winning here in Phoenix. This is a celebration for the ages.
At 50 years, 3 months, and 9 days, Mark Martin became just the 4th driver in NASCAR history to win a race in his second half-century. Martin joined an elite club that includes Bobby Allison, Harry Gant, and Morgan Shepherd.
Here he comes. He's going to do it.
Bottom. He's down low. Bobby Allison high.
In 1988, NASCAR legend Bobby Allison became the first driver over 50 to score checkers. And it happened on NASCAR's grandest stage.
And the winner of the 30th annual Great American Race, Bobby Allison. It's a big day for the seniors, the first winner over 50 years of age.
It's hard to believe Harry Gant is 50 years old, and I'll guarantee you there are very few, if any, drivers that are in as good a shape as Harry Gant, and he's 50 years old.
2 years later at Pocono, Harry Gant joined the club, scoring his first of 8 victories after turning the Big 5-0.
Fans on their feet, Harry Gant has won the Miller Genuine Draft 500 at Pocono, and Harry Gant will come back around to take the wave of congratulations from Rusty Wallace. A happy man, a well-deserved victory, and I guess the best race you can run at Pocono.
I think they got the Energizer Bunny in that car, who's still going and still going. 105 miles on 1 tank of fuel.
And at Atlanta in the spring of 1993, Morgan Shepherd led the final 12 laps on his way to career win number 4 at the age of 51.
The winner, one of the biggest cliffhangers we've had in a long time, Morgan Shepherd wins it for the Wood Brothers.
50 is the new 30, they say. And Mark Martin is back in victory lane and going full steam ahead as he reaches for the top 12 in 2009.
It was a 97 race winless streak that Mark Martin broke. They were just saying 50 is the new 30. And I'll tell you, race fans, right before this interview, you still have people coming up to congratulate you. Bobby Labonte just shaking your hand again. What a great week and a great feeling for you.
It was just incredible. It's, you know, definitely the most memorable win of my career because it's the most recent, but, you know, it's been a while. And, you know, I hoped when I took on the 5 car that might happen, but, you know, I didn't expect it to happen. I just hoped it would. And so good to see the 5 car, the 5 team in victory lane.
Now, when you look at the big picture, points, you're 13th, just 9 points out of the top 12. It's never too early to talk about points, but that also has to give you guys a little bit more confidence looking at the big picture of things.
Well, you know, it beats 34th for sure. This team has performed extremely well. They put me in great race cars right out of the gate this year, and we're having fun. And, you know, I didn't let 34th in the points spoil my, you know, spoil the good time. And we're going to keep digging and keep plugging away and see what happens and let the cards fall as they may. If we keep good luck on our side the rest of the season, then, you know, I think we'll be okay. But, you know, the things that we can control, we're doing a good job of.
Now, at Talladega, we've raced here 79 times in Cup since going back in the day to 69. Of those times, you've raced here 42 times, Mark. That's a lot. You've won here twice. You know how to get around this place. How is your car, and what is it going to take to win?
We got a great race car, but this one is way up in the air, way up in the air. It's anybody's race. The master, Dale Earnhardt Jr., would be quite a story if he could pull this one off, and he's got a good shot at it, and of course Jeff Gordon as well. But it's anybody's race. I mean, it wouldn't matter if you did have the best car. That doesn't matter at this race. So last week it was a big benefit to us, you know, because we've got a good car. We're just going to wait and see what happens. You never know. Hopefully we're in there and contending at the end, but you know, we'll just have to wait and see.
All right, good luck to Mark Martin. He starts 7th today in Talladega. And speaking of that win last week, it was the 35th win for the number 5 team. A lot of people doubted the 5 team last year, but this season, things are turning around. Here is part 1 of this week's Real Deal.
100%. No, I don't have to ask it. We always give it, boys. 100% all day. Be smooth, be smart, be safe. Know what time it is? Daytime!
All right, boys, Bart, nice job qualifying, nice work. Got a little momentum. 312 here tonight. Let's take advantage of our opportunities. Just do what we do here all night long, guys.
We have a really tight-knit family atmosphere on the 5, and the guys have been together for a really long time.
All the way hard, all the way hard. I think we got him.
These guys, 10-plus year guys, you know, some guys up in 18 years.
That one might need, we might ought to push it. If we can push that one through first, we may want to because we haven't had that car together and running in a while. This one, we know it's pretty close.
They live and breathe Hendrick Motorsports, you know, and they bleed the 5.
It's home, you know, and that's our group. It's like a family. We've been together for a long time now. I've worked with Alan since day one, so it's going on, you know, 9 1/4 years I've worked side by side with Alan. So I couldn't imagine going to work and not being there and, you know, trying to get it done with the group of guys we've got.
Being one of the original Hendrick cars and even the font on the number and with Kellogg's, you know, that have been with us for so long, it's just a lot of good history there, and those guys, you know, they just remember all that.
This 5 car, it's been a while since it won a race, and Rick really is proud. Got to send in Mark have. Good job, Mark.
You get those years where everything goes right, and you start blowing your chest out, feeling good about everything, and then all of a sudden, you're not that competitive every week, and then you finally get back to doing it again, and the chemistry's working, and it makes it worth it.
You know, it's always great to win out of this building. We haven't had as many as the 248 boys next door, so it's definitely nice to get to help the cause a little bit.
We needed that victory. It meant a lot to the team. It's been a long time coming.
I still haven't heard firmly when that's going to be, but when I do, I'll let you know.
I'm going to motor on through and try to get to the dub. We'll be ready whenever.
Bust it out. All right, buddy. 10-4.
Mr. Hendrick gives us everything we need to do well. So things are going to change. You know, if we keep doing the right things and keep sticking to the fundamentals, it's going to turn.
When you have that kind of support, you know you're going to make it through some way or another. You know, you might be down, but you know you're eventually going to be back, because when you have guys that are that passionate, committed to a team, you know you're going to succeed.
And if you look at Mark Martin's march through the points in 2009, 34th, just a few races back, he's had 4 straight top 10s, including his win last week. That's punched him up to 13th. Mark Martin has made the chase the last 3 full-time seasons of his career. He is marching his way on for another one. And Kenny, when you look at the 5 team, you look at Mark Martin, 2009 could be the year for the 5 team and Mark Martin.
It can be the year for Mark Martin, and let me tell you why. I've listened to a couple things. Somebody once asked Darrell Waltrip, Darrell, is it age that makes a driver slow down? And I believe in this quote, listen up. Darrell Waltrip said it is not age. What it is the garage area starts thinking, well, that guy's 45, that guy's 48. And then Mark Martin's quote, listen to Mark Martin. Mark Martin said, I can't win in a slow car. Mark Martin came out of retirement, you know why? Because he could drive for the greatest team in the history of NASCAR. Mark Martin said, I talked to Arlene, my wife. I'm going back because the greatest team in the history of NASCAR asked me to drive the car. Momentum is on Mark Martin's side because Mark Martin got the opportunity at 50 years old. For once, nobody talk about his age. Mark Martin is capitalizing with a great team.
The thing that I have to say about Mark Martin, he's one of the few drivers in the garage area that when it comes crunch time, he can reach deep down inside and get it, no matter what his age is. He will be a factor in this chase. He will be a factor in this championship hunt.
And like we just saw a moment ago, it's not the years in your life, but the life in your years. And right now, Mark Martin is getting a lot of life out of his years. Juan Pablo Montoya will lead the field to the green flag for the first time in his career. And later on in the show, Alan and Wendy will discuss the number 5 team's title chances in part 2 of The Real Deal.
So we're down here at the infield doing a little tailgating, and I saw a guy I had to stop and talk to, and that's right turn Ryan. Ryan, what are you doing down here, man?
Oh, Rutledge, isn't this awesome? In the Talladega infield, hanging out with Randy and Jody and their crew from Atlanta. Man, they have the ultimate tailgate experience going on here. Tropical theme, and of course they brought the M&Ms and some great stories as well. Jody was actually pregnant with their son, Corey, 20 years ago at this race. He's hanging out with them today. Oh, man, it is awesome.
How cool is that? So you guys look for M&Ms and fun times, and that's where it all starts.
Absolutely, and I want everybody at home to log on to NASCAR.com/most colorful fan. Upload your own colorful photos. Vote on the ones that are up there. Check out the other colorful fans out there. Now you got the chance to go down to Homestead for the final race of the season, VIP style.
Ooh, so you know what you can win. You know where to do it. You got to make sure because you could be M&M's most colorful fan. But for now, I know what I'm doing. I'm taking these, and Spencer, you're not getting any, baby. They're all mine. Rawr.
And you know what, Rutledge? There is a possibility that today they just may melt in your hands. But no, they won't. They won't, really. It's the biggest, and excuse our grammar, but the baddest racetrack there is, the Talladega Super Speedway. And when you're hooked up in a 190-mile-per-hour freight train, there is no room for error. And sometimes your only lifeline is your eye in the sky, your spotter.
Welcome to the Talladega Super Speedway. 2.66 miles around. It is a big, bad, fast racetrack.
All right, coming to the green.
Bud, be ready.
Ready. And green flag, green flag. Green flag. Stacking just a little. Just a little, still stacking.
Too wide, got that 29 on the top lane. Pushing the 12 up there.
Who's moving up on the high side? He's got the 29 with him.
We hate Talladega the most because we're handcuffed. There's so little we can do.
31's clear of the 2 wide. Middle lane clear. Line's closing up behind you. 3 back now. They're staying on the bottom. Bottom's got the line here. Bottom's got the line. Damn it. What the hell did they go to the bottom for? Everybody's
moving past everybody in the middle of the racetrack all day.
You're focused the whole time. You don't realize till you get home at night how strained your brain is really from just looking at stuff the whole time. 2 outside there, 2 outside.
Worst thing about that is you're looking through binoculars the entire time.
Clear. Now coming back. Big car's coming. He can push the hell out of everybody.
Still all clear. Y'all are catching this 6 quickly.
It's a very, very intense deal.
4 wide. 4 wide.
You're in traffic all day long, and people's tempers get flaring.
What the hell was that?
And other drivers are mad, and then people start yelling, and I mean, sometimes it can get really intense.
Will somebody please go tell that idiot in the 38 car that there is nowhere I can go, and he is about to beat my damn teeth out of my head.
There you go. Give it to him. There you go.
Clear up high. Clear all around.
Probably what helps a spotter the most is peripheral vision. First thing you'll think of when we say we use binoculars is, well, doesn't binoculars give you tunnel vision? Which it really does. And up until a few years ago, one of the spotters up on the roof discovered these wide-angle binoculars. Now, I guarantee you 90% of the spotters all use the same binoculars. Going down the backstretch at Talladega, you can see almost the entire backstretch.
10 with you, double wide. Joe 7 pushing hard. How are they looking?
It looks like wreck's getting ready to happen. I mean, it doesn't look good.
Even though it looks like there's 43 of them just running 3 deep the whole length of the field, you can see when something looks like it's wrong, whether maybe 2 cars are just a little bit higher than they need to be.
Here you go. Got all the help with you there. Big wreck behind you, keep digging. Come on, there we go. Keep digging, come on. Big wreck behind you.
And once the big one happens, it happens. You know, there's not a lot we can do. We want to think we can prevent it, but we can't.
Inside. Still 4.
Right, there they go.
Jeez, no more. Stay low. In front of you. Go high.
Something does happen, just trying to get your car slowed down without getting it hit from behind.
Slow it down. Stop it. Back and down.
Oh, no, right up.
Back and slide.
Here we go.
Big one.
We're in it.
Each situation's different, and you just go by gut feeling and try to get the thing aimed in the right direction, because a lot of times he may only can see smoke. And I'm just trying to put myself in that guy's position. If he can only see smoke and is trying to decide which way to go, I would want somebody telling me the clear way through there.
I got it. I have no clue how we got through that without hitting anything.
You know, Dale Earnhardt, the great Dale Earnhardt, told me one lesson that I will never forget. He says, Kenny, your spotters are up there, but clear yourself. Drive your own race car. Don't keep your head in that cocoon, and when the spotter says clear, don't go up. A lot of people wreck doing that. The spotters are great, but they can't see those inches on the racetrack.
And so there's one other way that a driver can take care of himself behind the wheel of the race car. It's a little help. It's a small piece of equipment, but it can be very important. Right, Wendy?
Absolutely. It's more than just the spotters. It's about the mirrors, and it's not for checking their hair and their lipstick. Make sure. No, I'm just kidding. No, driver. That would be me checking my lipstick. Okay, Kyle Busch uses a different type of convex mirror versus some of these other drivers. This is driver preference. Now, this is more rectangular convex mirror, this side view mirror. He has switched to this one. If you look at other cars on the grid, some of them use the little cone-shaped circular mirror that's convex. Now that allows them to see this vision behind them. Now also, they have these rear view mirrors. Now the difference between these rear view mirrors, Kyle Busch runs a little bit wider rear view mirror up where he can look at the cars behind him and watching traffic, watching for that bump draft, that bump that he needs to get. Some of those mirrors 3-4 inches, other drivers have about a 2-inch width of their mirror. So there are some differences that these guys use. All of them are driver preference. We even know of 3-stage mirrors some of these guys use, and also a third mirror on the right side. Kyle Busch did have a third mirror on the right-hand side of his car at Daytona, but here at Talladega, he opted to take it out. So a little bit of working with those mirrors. We saw Dale Earnhardt Jr. adjusting his mirrors quite a bit this week, and a lot of these drivers rely on the reflection in those mirrors. Johnny?
Wendy, thanks a lot. That's one small bit of help, but boy, it sure helps.
I think we should take all the mirrors out today.
Great idea, Jimmy. I don't know how Spencer can do that kind of analytical thinking and still be stuck with us here on race day. It's just amazing to me. When we come back, we're going to get the latest news from the garage area as we got a great crowd with us here at Talladega on NASCAR race day built by the Home Depot.
It's that time of year again when the All-Star Plating begins.
Kenny Wallace got in last year, so I think all those votes from last year should be carried over to me this year.
If you vote me in, I'll run naked for you.
And there's nothing better than a man who's not too proud to beg.
We could just go out and drive our heart out, put on a good show for all the fans.
I think our team's good enough that if we get in, we can win it.
We're taking AJ stumping.
Vote for me. I'll show much love.
Stay tuned. NASCAR Race Day, built by the Home Depot.
We got a new dog. I mean, we'll put the dog on TV if that helps.
Darlington Raceway is celebrating 60 years of racing history, so let's flash back to 1985. That's Awesome Bill. Elliott wins the Winston Million the old-fashioned way. He earned it with big wins on the big tracks and also earned the nickname $Million Bill. Now, there were lots of other big happenings at Darlington this week. Let's take a look at some snapshots of exactly what went on. Let's take a look at the old red and white walls, little throwback uniforms like they like to do in all of sports at this very historic racetrack. And speaking of throwbacks, the new Johnny Mance Trophy and also a mixture of old and new with Cale Yarborough taking Joey Logano for some hot laps around the Lady in Black. It doesn't get much more old and new than that. The newest driver with one of the, I don't want to say older drivers, I want to say one of the more veteran drivers, taking him around a racetrack that Cale Yarborough made a home at. Now for the latest of what's happening today here at Talladega, let's go back to Wendy Venturini.
Well, thank you, Johnny. Well, let's start off with some crew chief swapping that's taking place, and let's start with the 96, Bobby Labonte. He has a new crew chief. Of course, Parrott is out. Now in for Bobby Labonte, it's going to be Ben Leslie. Also, another crew chief change. Let's talk about multiple crew chief and entire team changes. Richard Childress has made the announcement that he will be swapping Kevin Harvick's team and crew chief Todd Berrier with the 07 of Casey Mears and his crew chief, Gil Martin, and the 07 team. There will be a complete swap of the teams and the crew chief starting next week. Richard Childress addressed the media yesterday.
Well, you know, I think just it's going to be good for our whole company. Those are two great race teams. Both of them have really performed over the last couple of years, and I think the Gil Martin, his team, has finished in the top 5 in the points both years, and Kevin's been to chase both years, and neither one of them was performing like we know they can. So there needed to be a change, and I think this change will get everybody fired up, and we'll be ready to go when we hit Richmond. Our whole sport's about performance, and if we're not performing, you're not doing our fans justice. We're not doing our sponsors justice, and it's my job to make sure that we get our cars back to performing.
And of course, that change again will take place next week in Richmond. The 29 guys will now be the 07 and flip-flop. Speaking of Casey Mears, well, he's been on probation now for the next 6 weeks, along with Dale Earnhardt Jr. from last week's incident at Phoenix. We know what happened on the racetrack. Well, it continued down on pit road post-race. NASCAR did not give either of those drivers any penalties, but they did place Casey Mears and Dale Earnhardt Jr. on probation for 6 weeks. Now, the big news of the weekend. The Sprint Cup Series Awards Banquet is moving to Las Vegas. Here we come. No more New York City for the Cup Awards Banquet. We are headed out west to Vegas on December 4th. That's a Friday night, and we will keep you in tune with maybe we have something in store here. I think that's pretty exciting, but maybe the most challenging thing that's happened this week were the changes at RCR. When those changes take place next week, Johnny, I think it's going to be pretty interesting with Gil Martin crew chiefing for Kevin Harvick and Todd Berrier crew chiefing for Casey Mears. Let's get it all straight here on NASCAR Race Day, right?
Wendy, thanks. And you know, that tells you just how much pressure is on these owners to perform, because what you're doing is you're taking Gil Martin away from a team that he has won with before with the 07 car and moving that whole team over to 29, but you're also separating Kevin Harvick and Todd Berrier, two guys that have won together and also won a championship in the Nationwide.
Well, I know what happened. It's a pretty bold statement for me to say this, but Richard just needs a year to straighten it out. Here's what happened, race fans. There was only 3 teams at Richard Childress Racing. When Richard said, let's add the 4th team, what he did is he created a little chaos, because see what he did is he split up Gil Martin and Clint Boyer. So when he did that, you know, he teamed Gil up with, you know, Casey Mears. Now they're all new again. So now here we are again with Casey Mears having another new crew chief. So listen, it's not negative. I'm just saying that's what happened. Now it will take them the rest of the year, or maybe next week to straighten things out. So he pulled the trigger again, and that's what I like about Richard Childress.
Well, I think the big thing is that this is nothing new. Simply, you look at Jack Roush, what he has done in the past, switching crews, trying to make teams better. Richard Childress was forced to do this. The teams were not performing. He's nowhere near where he was last year at this time. Clint Boyer, brand new team. He's the only one performing. The other three teams in the toilet. He has to make a rebound. He's making the change. I think it'll be a good one.
Sometimes a change can do you good, and sometimes a real big change can do a lot of good when it comes to Sprint Cup racing. We got to take another break here, but when we come back, we'll have more from Talladega. Speed's going to Richmond. NASCAR races into the 3/4 mile in Virginia. Don't miss the Sprint Cup practice at noon Eastern at 11 p.m. It's the ultimate late-night house party trackside. NASCAR on Speed. Be there. Presented by Advance Auto. What will you discover on the road to Richmond? While enjoying a region flavored with Southern hospitality, you always feel at home on the road when traveling by RV. Parks and campgrounds are plentiful and affordable along the way, so you can cook up your own brand of Southern hospitality. Go affordably, go RVing. Visit GoRVing.com to learn more. Welcome back to Talladega, everyone. And one guy who is very happy to be at this big Southern racetrack is the guy who went to victory lane yesterday, and he's with Hermie Sadler.
I got him, JR, yesterday's race winner. We've had you on the show a couple times, but glad to have you on the first time as a NASCAR winner. Congratulations.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. For our whole Discount Tire team, that was the first time that a lot of them have been to victory lane, and so it was fun celebrating with those guys. I've been with them for 2 years now, so our focus is on our UPS 4 today. Hopefully we can get a good top 10 finish, and it just goes to show you that sometimes you don't plan on things like that happening, but you're just around at the right time, and things just seem to work out for you.
And talk about, as a driver, it's hard to relate to the fans at home how quick stuff happens. You come off turn 4 yesterday, somewhat happy with bring this thing home, get a top 5, and hole opened up, and you have to make a decision quick to fill that spot, though.
Yeah, I wasn't sure who would go with me, who wasn't, and I saw the 5 jump out, and I said, man, I can at least push the 5, to a win. I might get a second or third place finish, and then, all of a sudden the 33's trying to do it. He's got to do to win the race, and it just seemed to open up. I got a good push from Joey Logano, and, things happened very, very fast, but I'm glad that start-finish line was a couple hundred yards further down than they normally are at these tracks.
And I was looking this morning quietly. You got a pretty good record here in your Cup car. You got a couple top 5s and only 4 starts. So anything you learned from yesterday that can help you make another decision at the end of a race to maybe get another win today?
Well, I think just being patient and making no mistakes on pit road. I did make one mistake yesterday, got caught speeding, but we overcame that. And, our UPS team does a great job on pit road, and, very confident that Jimmy's got this car handling well. So, 500 miles, it's a long race. We've just got to stay out of trouble and just cruise around for a little while. And I think that if we're in contention anywhere in that top 10, realistically, on a day like today, we can contend for a win. But most important is get some points back for our UPS team headed to Richmond.
And last thing, it's always a good time to win. Never a bad time to get to victory lane, but pretty cool to have your parents here yesterday and get them on TV and remember back to your dad racing here, and it seemed like a fun family day for you guys.
Yeah, family is something that's very important to me, and they've certainly stood behind me since Legends Car Racing to ARCA Racing to a lot of different things. And so it was neat to have them there, and certainly a lot of friends and family over in Unadilla, Georgia, not too far from here, watching on TV. So anytime that you have some friends and family here to celebrate with you, it just makes it even more exciting.
And if you guys believe in momentum, he wins yesterday. 2 top 5s and 4 starts. How about this fantasy pick coming up later on, Wendy?
Yeah, we are going to be looking for who you're going to pick, Hermie, because of course Hermie Sadler has been in the lead lately. Now, a guy that's trying to get into the All-Star race, AJ Allmendinger. But first, I hear he went into the infield. Let's check this out. What happened yesterday?
Hey, what's up? AJ Allmendinger here. So we're about to go out into the Talladega infield and do a lot of shameless promotion. What's up, guys? I'm here promoting myself to be voted into the All-Star race.
Vote AJ for the All-Star race!
We're gonna give out some free pizza. Pizza, man! Get a lot of people to vote for me and just have a good time, because that's what it's all about in the Talladega infield.
Yes!
How you guys been? What's up?
What's up, man?
What's up?
See the new flag?
What's up?
Yeah, did you see the new AJ?
I like it. Those guys were probably my first true Talladega fans. In 2007, We met those guys for the first time. They were just a lot of fun from the start. They were just cool, laid back. They were excited that a NASCAR driver was out there, and ever since then, they've been big fans of mine. So we gotta, every time we come to Talladega, we know where they're parked. We gotta show them the love, and they're a good, fun group to be around. You know you're not quite Dale Jr. yet when you gotta sign this. Don't be taking the shirt and not voting for me, all right? Never above shameless plugging, remember that. It's what it's all about, people. 2009, we won it last year through the shootout, but this year, I want you to vote for AJ, make me an all-star, and I promise you, I'll show you how it's done.
Let's go AJ in the All-Star race!
I am stuck with that image of that guy's stomach for the rest of my day. Thanks, AJ. We appreciate that, but the ultimate goal to get voted in, you want to race your way in the All-Star Showdown in just a few weeks here on Speed, but if all else fails, you got some votes from the Talladega infield.
Well, you might be stuck with the image now. I had to sleep with that image in my head last night. I didn't get a lot of sleep last night, so no, it was a lot of fun. Those group of guys that we went out to that bus, I met those like 2 years ago. We didn't make the race here, and they were just fun. They were happy I was out there, and ever since then, I go out there and see them every time we come to Talladega. So, like I said, I'm not above begging for votes. You know, like I did last year. I'll use my wife. I'll use my dog. I'll do whatever it does. We got Hunt Brothers Pizza this time, so they brought the pizzas out there. They were pumped up. It was a lot of fun. But yeah, there were some images out there that I'm not gonna get out of my head anytime soon.
Well, hopefully you won't have any nightmares today in Talladega. This could always be a tough one. The Super Speedway restrictor plate racing, you're starting in the back of the pack. I mean, how do you handle today's race? You got to be patient, work your way up, and that's a difficult thing to do at Talladega, to be so patient, so starting so far back.
Yeah, I mean, but you know, the starting spot here means nothing compared to any other racetrack that we go to. I mean, we're going to go to the back to the front a lot, and you know, you see it every year. People, they have their ideas of whether you race up front, you miss the big one. You race in the back, you miss the big one. It's just whether you're in the big one or not, and you're around it. So it's a tough thing, but we'll try to be as patient as we can. Ultimately, it comes down to the last 20 laps. You got to put yourself in the right position. But leading up to that, you got to make some friends and see who you can draft with. And like I said, Hunt Brothers Pizza this weekend, they've brought me some new energy. They've been a lot of fun. We've been cooking pizzas behind my bus all weekend. So it's going to be a lot of fun. We'll drive the 44 Dodge up to the front.
I know, I have seen them. Every time we've gone past the motorhome lot, there are stacks this tall of Hunt pizza. So plenty of pizza to go around in the infield for those guys. AJ Allmendinger, who has his day cut out for him in Talladega, but feels confident he'll work his way to the front. Johnny?
Wendy, thanks a lot, and best of luck to AJ Allmendinger, first of all on the track, but also in the All-Star vote. And you know what? You simply can't be chicken to drive around Talladega, but you can eat a lot of chicken if you come to Talladega. And fans, you got to unthink what you used to think about KFC. The new Kentucky grilled chicken is here, marinated and grilled. Yeah, hey, we each get a bucket, Jimmy. You don't get all three.
Yeah, I get one. Spence, you don't get. Can I have one, please? You know what? I grew up in a little town in Rolla, Missouri.
Whoa, look at that.
And Kentucky Fried Chicken, my favorite chicken. Let me see how it tastes.
That's a lot of chicken, a lot of bones.
That's finger licking good, baby, right there.
Who wants pizza?
Hey, it's 5-star fall off the bone taste. Taste the unfried side of Kentucky Fried Chicken. Everyone can try a piece of grilled chicken tomorrow for free. Taste the unfried side of KFC. That is if Jimmy Spencer does not eat it all. That's some good stuff right there. You know, a couple years ago in the Sprint Showdown, the NASCAR Race Day launched a campaign that scored Kenny Wallace the most fan votes, allowing him to start in the Sprint Cup All-Star race. However, it was Kevin Harvick who drove to victory for his first ever win in the 2007 All-Star race.
Boy, Kurt Busch and that 2 got such a run through the middle of 3 and 4. Here comes his brother Kyle to the inside and almost wrecked him. Told you. There he goes. I told you. Checkers or wreckers.
That was a bummer to have my little brother pull that move on me, and maybe I should have given an inch instead of taking an inch from him. But right now, I'm not eating any Kellogg's anytime soon.
Let's see if they can make it through here without running over each other. Boy, look at Harvick go like he shot out of a rocket over there in the middle of turn 1 and 2.
I think really the race came down to one key moment for us, and that was going into the last segment. You know, it's kind of one of those all-star moves. You either make it or you don't. And passing Gordon and Burton on the outside there, 3 wide, going into turn 1, and that was really the key to the race. Just staying in front and being able to hold off the 48 at the end.
Kevin Harvick wins the Nextel All-Star Challenge.
Celebrating 25 years of All-Star memories. Don't miss the NASCAR Sprint All-Star Race on Speed, Saturday, May 16th, 7 p.m. Eastern. NASCAR on Speed. Be there.
You know, back when Rusty Wallace won his All-Star race and also when he won his championship, Barry Dodson was his crew chief. Barry Dodson is a very good friend of NASCAR Race Day. He was in a car wreck last week, and Barry, we wish you the best. Get well soon. We want to see you back at the racetrack soon, so get well soon. Come back and see us. And right now we're going to go back to Jimmy Spencer to see how he liked the Kentucky Fried Chicken. Oh, I guess you did.
Let me tell you what.
There's not even sauce left on the inside of the bucket.
Let me tell you what. That was the best chicken that I've ever eaten in my life. That was fantastic. And I know
speaking from experience.
I'm not lying. That was freaking awesome. Awesome, KFC.
I like the Colonel.
Oh, man.
I'm not sure what really to say about that. So
that was awesome. Try it. It's free tomorrow.
We're just going to say that Lowe's Motor Speedway is announcing a special promotion for tickets starting tomorrow at noon. Lowe's will put 1,000 seats combined for the Sprint All-Star Race and the Coke 600 at a price equal to the number of cars involved in the big one here today at Talladega. Welcome back to Talladega, everyone, where it's race number 9 of the 2009 season. And we have Juan Pablo Montoya leading us to the pole today. And we also have Jeff Gordon coming in as the points leader and also the most winningest active driver here at Talladega. But it was Kyle Busch who stunned the crowd last year and came out on top after all was said and done at Talladega.
This could well be the best that we have ever seen here at the Talladega Superspeedway.
All right, get that. All right.
A lot of business takes place over here and a lot of drafting.
Have a good day, fellas. When it comes down to it, every little thing counts. Folks, remember we'll be doing 2-tire stops, gas and goes. Copy that.
Green flag goes in the air, and you hear those engines roar to life as they head off to turn number 1.
Here's Tony Stewart back to the bottom of the racetrack. Gets a huge heave-ho for Denny Hamlin.
Any changes? Just the ones we discussed right before we started. It's nothing terrible, but it's a little bit stuff. Well, appreciate it. Doing good. Your lap 10 next time by. 10 laps. 4 wide. 4 wide. You're in the middle. Trouble behind you. Caution's out.
We just really can make a decision. If we stay out here, I'm 95% sure we'd be the first one to get 5 points if we're going to fall back anyway.
So there's 88. I sure would like to see the lap.
Just keep in mind about your moves. Everybody up and down pit road is going to be listening and telling everybody what you're thinking. So
I think some other guys might take towers, so it probably wouldn't hurt. I can make it back up. Do 2 tires. When they drop the jack, you wait on me. Do not go when we drop the jack. Coming in. Give me a different set. Gas, no gas. Just tires, guys. Tires only.
They are side by side with Denny Hamlin's Toyota down low. Not anymore. New race leader, Dale Earnhardt Jr. Top spot.
I feel like I'm putting just a touch more steering wheel into it. Maybe we think about bringing the car up a little somehow. You guys got to get together and get that done. That was what you were doing over there. Come back, Dale Jr. We're going to try to do something to the left rear.
Down on the inside of the track is Kyle Busch, and he's got the most drafting help in the inside lane.
There's a crashing in the back of the pack. Now parts are flying everywhere.
They know it's over. Busch is headed to the stripe.
So let's be clear about a couple things. First of all, Kyle Busch won this race last year. And second of all, something else we want to clear up. As you take a look at these 2 pictures, we want to identify them properly. The man on the left side of your screen is Jimmy Spencer. The man on the right, well, no.
I love doggy.
That's what Jimmy looked like when he was eating the chicken a little while ago.
Oh, you guys.
The tongue was out.
Amster, I don't like that, Amster. That
does look like you, Spence.
But Spencer, you're a bulldog. You're a hard charger.
You
a
know,
go-getter. All right,
but
let's
you know
get to
what?
Wendy.
That chicken was fantastic, and I think I got the trick. It was cooked with the bone on, you know?
All right,
Man,
let's give a dog a bone and let's get down to Wendy Venturini with breaking news from the garage area. Wendy?
I'm disturbed at that. Someone who's not a lucky dog, and that is Sam Hornish Jr. Breaking news from the garage area. He has the flu. We found out late last night, early this morning, Sam Hornish will start today's race, but they do have a driver that will be stepping in depending on Sam's condition throughout the race, and that driver is Travis Quapple. Now we are joined by the crew chief, Travis Geisler, for the 77 for Sam Hornish. We do know Sam has been to the Infield Care Center, has taken fluids all morning. He will be starting this race. Tell us the update with Travis Quapple. Literally, race fans, he just arrived off the Penske plane and has just made his way to the 77 to fit into the seat. Give us more updates, Travis.
Yeah, I think we might have interrupted Travis's plans with his boys today at the pool, but we've got Travis on site now. NASCAR's worked with us really well this morning through the tech process, allow our car to remain in the garage. We've got him in the seat just to make sure we know what he needs for changes as far as Sam to Travis, belts, making sure he's safe. So I think everything's going to be pretty reasonable. Travis and Sam, fortunately, are real close in size, and you know, Travis has obviously worked at Penske Racing in the past, and we've got a history with him. So if we need to do that during the race, we want to have everything prepared to do that safely.
All right, this is a tough job for you because you might be dealing with two drivers. You guys came off a 9th place finish at Phoenix. Your team is really on a roll. Qualified 4th today. Fortunately, Sam will not have to go to the back of the pack because he will be starting this race. Talk about, from your perspective, how this race could play out.
Well, obviously, this is a crapshoot from the beginning, so whether you start with Sam and end with Travis or run Sam through the whole thing, it's still a crapshoot for us. I think that either driver will do a great job. We obviously would rather have Sam in it. We've got a lot of good momentum going, as you mentioned, finishing 9th at Phoenix. Got our first top 10 finish as a team, and for Sam and stock cars, I think we're finally turning the corner here with the Mobil 1 Dodge, and this would be another great opportunity for us. He's run really well at Daytona and drafting races, so I think we're all pulling for him and get him his IVs. The doctors here on site are taking great care of him, and that's all we can ask for.
All right, thanks to Travis Geisler, the crew chief here, who will be dealing with possibly the driver change. Sam Hornish Jr., as we just mentioned, does have flu-like symptoms, is in the Infield Care Center getting more fluids, will start today's race at Talladega. Travis Quapple will be standing by. Kenny Wallace, you have been in this situation before, my friend. How does a driver deal with this? Travis Geisler was just saying Travis Quapple was headed to the pool, jumped on an airplane, and now is going to be racing at Talladega today. Whew, what a change of your day.
Hey, it better to happen at Talladega. You don't need no practice. The track's easy to drive, but he's got two decisions. First of all, he's got to say, okay, what do you want me to accomplish, race team? Do you want me to get max points? Then he can charge with 20 to go. If he wants to be a hero and try to get up there and go, look at me, everybody, I'm still a great race car driver, I'm Travis Quapple, charge up front, big chance at wrecking. Travis Quapple has to do what the race team wants him to do today. It cannot be all about him.
And let's hope that Travis has been forcing his fluids throughout the week, because it is very hot here today, and that's a tough situation for somebody to jump in. And we also wish Sam Hornish the best. We hope he gets well soon, because he had an excellent qualifying effort, and as well as doing very well in the 77. To make sure you catch the race, catch the cash, it's the All-Star Sweepstakes, and it's going on now on Speed. Answer this question by logging on to speedtv.com, and you could qualify to win today's prize. Watch the NASCAR Sprint All-Star Race on May 16th at 7. Race fans, be sure to join Steve Burns, Michael Waltrip, and Chad Knaus for a complete recap of the Sprint Cup race at Talladega. You also don't want to miss a sneak peek at Michael Waltrip's cameo on the sitcom My Name is Earl. Get all the behind the scenes plus Michael's thoughts on the experience Monday on This Week in NASCAR. Now, it's perhaps one of the most important drivers' meetings of the year, the one that happens before Talladega, because we have a different out of bounds, we have some different rules, and we also have a danger zone on the racetrack. Let's check in with race director David Hoots.
Heed this warning, and also take very serious note of what I'm getting ready to say here about an aggressive driving zone. I'll read it, but it's important that you make sure you don't go over that line. You all know what we're talking about, and if you witnessed the practice this Friday, we were all flirting with it. So let's throttle back a little bit. The aggressive driving zone will be considered all the way around the track, with much emphasis and observation placed in the turns and the travel for the entire race. Understand also that this does not give you more latitude on the straightaways. If you're thinking you're getting ready to get too close or you're crossing over this line, then throttle back. Be on the conservative side and do not place yourself in that position of opening it up to our judgment. You all know how to get around here. You know how to get around here smartly. Let's do that for 188 laps.
Okay, so that's one thing. You can say it, but it's much more difficult when you're going 190 miles an hour to practice it.
NASCAR left an open door policy here where they said, if you got forced below the yellow line, we're going to make a judgment call. Well, they've eliminated that. Don't go below the yellow line. End of story. If you go below the yellow line, it's history. You're going to get penalized.
And when NASCAR says something, they're waiting for somebody so they can make an example out of them. So if anybody hits anybody hard today, they will penalize them to send a message for Daytona or the end of this race.
Now, we will talk much more bump drafting a little later on in the program, but right now we're going to go down and join Wendy Venturini for a guy who's a pretty big driving force behind a race team that you might not know.
Yes, exactly right, Johnny, and that is Michael Waltrip Racing. Now, back in 2007, Michael Waltrip Racing made the announcement that Robert Kaufman would be coming on as a 50-50 owner here at the organization. Now, Robert's a guy we don't often see here on NASCAR Race Day, so we are very honored you're here at Talladega. Talk about your involvement with the team and your role. You came on as a financial business advisor. We've seen this team really grow in the last 2 years, so what kind of role have you played? Because obviously it's been something.
All right, well, kind of you to say. Actually, it's a pleasure to be here. It's actually really fun. We were at Daytona at the infield in January, and they said, this is nothing, Rob. You have to come to Talladega. So I said, oh, we have to try that. So we did. So we took a little stroll on the boulevard last night. It was pretty funny. But no, I'm really proud of the team. These guys have really done a tremendous job the past year. I mean, Michael, really did a lot to start this thing out from scratch, and I think had some early teething problems, and I kind of came in, helped kind of organize stuff at the end of '07. Last year was really kind of getting things together, and it's starting to really pay some dividends now. And now it's really all about being more competitive. I think the guys did a terrific job. I'm really proud of them all.
Now, you've been to a dozen NASCAR races. Here at Talladega, you said you even made your way down Talladega Boulevard last night. What are you expecting out of today's experience? Because this is a pretty exciting race, and we'd like to see some more of you. So maybe you'll get a little bit more of a taste. I know you live in Europe, but make your way out here. Thanks for joining us at Talladega. What do you expect out of today?
Well, fingers crossed. I watch this very, very eagerly on TV many nights from my apartment in London, because it's great to be here actually live. The guys have done well on the super speedways, and but anything can happen. We could use a little luck of the good flavor, and hope for the best here. And the guys have competitive cars. They seem to all like them this morning, so we'll see.
Now, Michael Waltrip is always one to always throw us things here at Speed. This year, he's told us, okay, I might step out of the car at the end of the year. Who knows what Michael Waltrip's going to be up to? We watched the progress of the 55. What are your thoughts on that? And have you guys had discussions on what you can? I know you play a key part in the strategic part of this organization, but what has Mikey been up to? And is he following through on that idea that he possibly could retire at the end of this season?
Well, I think both of us, when we first looked at the company together in '07, we were doing this for a long period of time. I mean, a decade or 2 decades, hopefully, and be, in the garage with everybody else that's been here for many, many years. So it was always on the topic, always on the horizon. So it's really evolution rather than revolution. And it'll be a joint decision. He's doing well, and the team's certainly improving. The cars are competitive, so there's no rush to do anything. It'll be a joint decision all around the table.
Perfect. Well, thanks for joining us on Race Day. And Robert Kaufman definitely has added some staff. Every time I go through Michael Waltrip Racing, the people there have increased. But I'll tell you one guy that's brought a lot to this team, Booty Barker. And Booty's giving me a dirty look. Crew chief here for Michael Waltrip. Oh, I didn't want to talk to you. I just want to point you out. Oh, we'll talk to you later. Yeah, you look good. Yeah, you need a mirror? Because I got some convex ones on those race cars out there. See what I mean, Johnny? Shiny. You're fine.
Booty's a very handsome man. I have no problem saying that. Booty's a good-looking guy. There's no problem with that. But also what looks pretty good right now is Michael Waltrip Racing, especially when you consider where they started out with the huge fines at Daytona. Very disappointing. It took Mikey himself so long to get on track with that team. Now they got a guy in the top 10.
He wasn't going to get on track. Michael Waltrip was closing the doors. I really like this Rob Kaufman. He comes in, you don't see this big ego. You don't see him prancing around the garage area. He doesn't even say, hey, this is Michael Waltrip Racing with Rob Kaufman. No, the guy, if it wasn't for Rob Kaufman, Michael Waltrip's no longer in existence. Give the guy a lot of credit, and Michael will be quick to say that. The first thing he's done is he's brought this team into where it's very, very respectable now. What Michael really wanted was to have a respectable team. With Rob Kaufman on board, he's done it. There's just really a bright future ahead for Michael Waltrip Racing with Rob Kaufman on board.
and also with driver David Ragan representing that team in the top 10 in points right now. Great job by those guys coming back from adversity at the beginning of that race team. We got to take a quick break here on NASCAR Race Day, built by the Home Depot. When we come back to a sunny, hot Talladega, we're going to get the best and the rest of who's running good and who's running not so good this season in the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series.
3 races. 3 different winners. 1 team. Today, Hendrick's boys try to do something never accomplished. We'll explain. Straight ahead, NASCAR Race Day, built by the Home Depot.
Welcome back, everybody, to Talladega. It's race number 9 of the 2009 season, and it is a beautiful sunny day here in Alabama. It is time now for our Best Western, Best and the Rest. And we want to welcome our good friend Hermie Sadler to the set here on race day as the fans continue to make their way into this huge track. Going to be a great crowd here today. And we want to start Hermie Sadler off with the best because, Hermie, there's a team that you think is really making some improvements.
Well, a couple of weeks ago here on race day, we talked about Earnhardt Ganassi Racing, the fact that they started off with 7 teams, now they have 2 teams, and kind of started talking about the demise of Earnhardt Ganassi Racing. Well, Martin Truex comes in with a top 10 finish last week. They've got 2 cars in the top 3 today. They are proving maybe less is more at Earnhardt Ganassi Racing. If they could top that off somehow with a victory today, certainly would be a step in the right direction for those guys.
And Kenna Wallace, what about Richard Childress Racing? This time last year they were the best. Now they're somewhat among the rest.
Right now, Richard Childress Racing is the rest. Why? Because of growing pains with the 4th team. Let's look at Kevin Harvick. His last 4 races, he finishes 30th, 11th, 27th, 30th, and now this week Richard Childress says, look, we are not performing. We're going to make wholesale changes. We're going to swap teams, crew chiefs, and so Richard Childress right now is the rest, meaning they got some work to do to get better.
And Jimmy Spencer, another team that has some work to do, certainly this season, but also this weekend as well. Richard Petty Motorsports, the story with them is blown engines.
Well, and not just the blown engines, Johnny. I think they've blown 2, and then they've changed it 2 automatically just to be safe. But you know, let's take Elliott Sadler, for example. This guy has won in the past, the last 3 races, 31st, 32nd, 32nd again. Richard Petty, RPM Motorsports. Man, you need to do something to fix your team. Let's face it. If it's the drivers, fire them. If it's not the drivers, fix it. End of story. I mean, you got to do something.
And because there's a lot of pressure on these guys to win any day on the racetrack, and you know what? We say it every weekend, but we got to say it again. If it was easy, everybody'd be doing it, and right now, Richard Petty Motorsports is not having an easy time with it. Hermie Sadler is going to stay with us here on the Home Depot stage as we continue to get ready for 499 miles here at the Talladega Super Speedway, the track that put the super in Super Speedway.
While Mr. Martin gets the accolades, AG and company worked under the radar for the win. Wendy chats with the men behind last week's checkered flag and finds out how special the victory is.
You know, winning special anytime you can do it, and especially, like I said, with Mark, you know, he's such a tremendous competitor, and, you know, there's nothing we want to do more than get to victory lane, you know, with Mark Martin.
Around the turn, NASCAR Race Day, built by the Home Depot.
Ryan Newman, driver of the number 39 Chevrolet for Stewart-Haas Racing, is the newest racer to join the SpeedTV.com family. Get exclusive analysis from Newman and fellow SpeedTV.com personalities. Log on to SpeedTV.com and look for the latest voices of speed on their columns. And also, you can check out the Advanced Auto Parts Cutaway Car to learn all you want to know about this COT car. And now our good friend Hermie Sadler, the pride of Emporia, Virginia, is down at the real thing, the Advanced Auto Parts Cutaway Car. Hermie.
Thank you, JR. And look, as a driver, I love coming to Talladega because it's on the crew chief and the team to make me go fast. All the other racetracks, before qualifying, the crew chief looks at the driver and says, hey, we've given you all you got. You got to get up on the wheel and get it done. So if I'm the crew chief, I got to find some speed. Here's what I'm looking for. I've developed the old speed checklist. And let's remember, a table. For every 7 horsepower you gain at the racetrack, that's 1 mile per hour on the racetrack. Let's look up here. Brakes. Everybody's going to push the brake puckers back to free roll the wheels. That's about 2 horsepower. timing. They got 2 ignition boxes. You got an A box for the racetrack for racing. Switch it over to the B box, give you a little more timing for qualifying. They've got tape the grill. We want to tape the grill in the front, maximum speed. Clear coat. These guys actually put the decals on the car and shoot clear coat over top of the decals for a little more speed. Now, if you need to get in that top 35, if you're not locked in, you may want to push the envelope a little bit. You put lightweight oils in the gear, transmission, rear end. That's about 3 horsepower. You lower the oil pressure down to about 20 pounds. That's a half a horsepower. Lower fluid levels in the transmission and gear, about a half a horsepower as well. Then if you're really, really desperate, we call it right here, remove your belts. They'll take the rear end pump belt off, and if you still need a little bit more, watch this, fans. Power steering pump belt, it's coming off. That's a half a horsepower. Alternator belt, that's coming off. That's another horsepower. Yes, you got to drive this car with no power steering if that's what it takes to get in this race. On the first pit stop, some of these guys that had to do these things will be putting belts back on instead of changing wedge and air pressure, JR.
Hermie Sadler, thanks a lot. A lot of things you can do to gain more horsepower because here it is all about the horsepower. Well, it's one of the many things at Talladega that is just simply out of your control. The big one. You can be having a great day running up front, but the big one can ruin any hopes of winning on this big track.
It's Baker, Bonnet, Yarborough, and Waltrip racing inches apart at sonic speed. Suddenly, Baker's car slips out of control. The drivers in his high-speed wake have nowhere to go. In a matter of split seconds, there is chaos instead of competition.
Bobby Allison with a horrible crash here on the front stretch. It has torn out a complete section of protective railing.
This is unbelievable.
A multi-car incident between turns 1 and 2.
It's ridiculous. Here you just run 3 deep, 4 deep, you can't get away from nobody.
Ernie Irvin wins and Rusty spins and gets airborne. Trouble upside down and into the wall goes Ryan Newman. A number of cars involved. Head on into the wall goes Ricky Rudd. More than half the field piled up on the outside wall.
Are you doing okay?
I could be better, don't you think?
Wasn't nobody's fault. It's just the nature of the beast here. But it was an interesting little part was I was listening to the radio on the way in from the ambulance, and everybody said it was a pretty exciting race, so I was glad to hear that.
A bad crash here at Talladega. One car overturned in the banking of turn number 1.
Elliott Sadler gets turned. He's upside down. He's on the roof sliding down the back straightaway. Now the car turns gyrations. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 barrel rolls as Elliott Sadler tumbles off the end of the back stretch.
Trouble, Stewart in the wall. Here we go. Robbie Gordon's in at the 33. Harvick is around, the big one.
It's a matter of time.
At least 20 cars.
Mayhem.
And all of a sudden we got a trouble. Bobby Labonte breaks out of line. Several cars involved. Kyle Busch is involved. 6, 7, 8, 9 cars involved. All of a sudden one car broke loose. Bobby Labonte slid up the banking, slammed the outside wall. All the other drivers with no place to go.
Now, we said just moments ago, if the big one happens, you have no control over your car if you get in it. But the other side of it is you have some control over it, Kenny, if you don't bump draft in the wrong part of the racetrack.
We have too many drivers that are trying to emulate, think they know how to bump draft. Now look at this. Okay, this is Kyle Busch. Here the 18 hits the 12, bang, spins him out. Now that is wrong bump drafting because it's coming off of the corner. Now here's 20. Here's Joey Logano, which goes ahead and takes out Michael Waltrip. Now, this is bad bump drafting, race fans. Here we go, Joey Logano, bang, off of the corner. You should not do that off of the corner. Now, look at Roush teammates. Okay, here we go, Roush teammates. Okay, David Ragan pushes Matt Kenseth too hard and spins him out. So, race fans, listen. You know, this is not good because we might hurt somebody. Now, okay, here we go, last law. Carl Edwards thinks he's going to bump draft in the middle of the corner. What are we thinking? This is crazy. So once again, wreck after wreck after wreck after wreck. Why?
Oh, I love it.
People thinking they're big time. Oh, I can draft like Dale Earnhardt.
I love it, man. What is wrong with you? Man, let him bump draft. Hell, man, that's what it's all about.
As long as everybody's okay afterwards.
Let them get it on. I agree with you, though, Kenny. This, you got to respect, you got to learn where to bump draft. But the thing is, Hermie, let's face it, it's part of the sport. I don't think NASCAR could police it any more than to say, just respect each other, guys.
Listen, I was in that wreck we saw with Ryan Newman when he walked away from. That was caused by a flat tire. I was running behind Ryan. The tire completely came off the wheel. But 9 times out of 10, it's driver error. So
I agree with you.
Every time you put it, you get that driver in there, it's going to be a problem.
Okay, now we have to release our good friend Hermie Sadler because
See you later, Hermie.
We need your driver introductions. We're going to send Hermie inside, but we're going to still hang out here with the great fans of the Talladega Super Speedway. They're all here to see who, Kenny Wallace, Earnhardt, and Waltrip. They're both my man. When it comes to NASCAR racing, it simply doesn't get any bigger than Talladega. It's the biggest track on the circuit, and we see some of the biggest crowds in sports when we come to this track. So just how big is Talladega? Well, let's go get the good stuff with Booty Barker.
Let me give you the good stuff on Talladega. This is for all those people that have never been here but wondered what it's like. Well, first off, its size. It's truly massive. Unbelievable how big it is. But when I try to tell people back home what it's like, I'll try to describe it to you the same way. Now, I'm country, so I'm going to describe it in a country way. Imagine you're on your front porch on a Sunday evening, drinking your lemonade, eating some cantaloupe and watermelon with your family, and you're on a farm. You got a pasture, a vast pasture, and in the distance you have trees. And you look up, and in the distance, in the far distance, you see a flash of cars go by in between the trees. You're not sure what you saw, but you know you saw something. Then a little later, you sit down on your porch, and all of a sudden you feel the shake, you feel it shaking, you feel the air disturbed, you hear a roar getting louder and louder, and all of them come right through your front yard in a blur. It shakes the ground, it rattles your ears, you can smell the rubber on the asphalt, you smell the engines burning and all of it, and it goes by in a blur. It's awe-inspiring. People love it here, and it's an experience that you never have anywhere else. Talladega is very much like America. It's the biggest, it's the best, and nowhere else in the world has it. And that's the good stuff, my friends.
Booty Barker, you the man, and we're racing today at the Talladega Super Speedway. No question, it's big, so big, they used to land planes in the infield. And with a big racetrack comes big excitement and big wrecks, and also a pretty big check at the end of this thing for those who can stand out front. Now, Jeff Gordon is the winningest active driver here at this track, and he also comes in on top of the championship point standings. He could add a 7th win here today if he can stay out front till the end.
Tell you what, Johnny, that guy in 3rd place in the points is long overdue on plate racing. He's as good as there is in plate races. Watch that 2-car today at Talladega, baby.
So Kurt Busch looking good in the points. So is Clint Boyer, Kyle Busch, and Carl Edwards is 8th right now. And how about David Rudiman?
It won't be long. You cannot keep running in the top 10, top 5 before you win a race. We saw Clint Boyer do it. I believe it won't be long. We'll see David Rudiman in victory lane.
And probably not too long before we see Casey Kane there as well. Now, the last 3 races have been won by 3 different Hendrick Motorsports drivers. Mark Martin put them in a very interesting position to accomplish a feat never before achieved in NASCAR, to win 4 consecutive races with 4 different drivers.
He is free and clear, and he's headed for home. Jimmy Johnson off turn 4.
The white flag is in the air for Jeff Gordon as he comes back to the start-finish line.
We're going crazy in Batesville, Arkansas. Their native son is getting ready to go back to Gatorade victory lane.
The Hendrick domination continues at Martinsville Speedway as Jimmy Johnson wins for the 6th time.
Pop the champagne, Jeff Gordon. The losing drought is over. Mark Martin wins the Subway Fresh Fit 500 over Tony Stewart.
It was 1989, 20 years ago, when Team Hendrick had that rare threefer for the first time. That feat was courtesy of Darrell Waltrip's 4th Goodies 500 in a row at Martinsville, Ken Schrader's win at Charlotte, and Jeff Bodine's come-from-behind last-lap victory at North Wilkesboro.
Here comes the field down for the white flag. 1 more to go. Run is inside of Dale Earnhardt as they go into turn number 1, and both of them spin.
And Jeff Bodine takes the lead.
Here comes Jeff Bodine, who'll come down and win the Holly Farms 400. Bodine wins.
You know, I guess that's Martinsville and Charlotte didn't hear 3 in a row for us, so that's great. You know, we're excited about it, and they worked hard, and I'm just glad they came through today after getting the lap down.
It took 18 years to complete this feat again. And while the names and numbers may have changed, Hendrick's winning ways haven't. Jimmy Johnson took checkers at Richmond, en route to championship number 2. Jeff Gordon followed that up with his 7th Darlington win. And Charlotte saw Casey Mears in victory lane for the first and only time in his short cup career.
He can coast in from here. It took 156 races, but Casey Mears has finally won. They used fuel strategy to take the victory. Casey Mears, in a giant upset, has won the Coca-Cola 600.
Now, Dale Earnhardt Jr. looks to make history and give owner Rick Hendrick a 4th win in a row by a 4th different driver for the first time ever here at Talladega.
Okay, so if there's not enough pressure already on Dale Earnhardt Jr. here at Talladega to win, how about the pressure, Spencer, for him to win 4 in a row for Hendrick with 4 different drivers? Can he do it?
Yes, he can, and simply because Dale Earnhardt Jr. is one of the best at restrictor plate racing. He has 5 wins at Talladega. He'll do it today, Kenny.
Hendrick Motorsports can definitely win. 110%. Look for one to be in victory lane. Yes.
And there's no question why it cannot be Dale Earnhardt Jr. today. He can definitely be there today, especially to the delight of these fans. Let's go back to Wendy.
Thanks, Johnny. Mark Martin scored his 36th career victory with last week's win in that 5 car. But his crew chief, only 33 years old, Alan Gustafson, scored his 5th career win as a crew chief. So the winning combination is paying off, though, for this 5 team. They've been together this season, and they are not giving up on the thought of a championship. Here is part 2 of this week's Real Deal.
And Mark Martin playing Catch Me If You Can.
You know, he's had 3 poles this year. We knew he was going to win a race sooner or later.
They may call him the old man, but he hasn't forgotten how to win a race, and he has done it, winning here in Phoenix.
First off, Alan, congratulations not only on your first win since 2007, but your first win with the legendary Mark Martin. You've got to be walking with a little extra pep in your step this week.
Yeah, that's it was a lot of fun. You know, we've all worked really hard to get to that point, and you know, winning special anytime you can do it, and especially like you said with Mark, you know, he's such a tremendous competitor, and you know, there's nothing we want to do more than get to victory lane, you know, with Mark Martin. So it's been a while for him too, so it was really special for all of us to get back there.
I noticed the first thing Mark did when he got out of the car, he came over to you and shook your hand. I thought that was a pretty cool gesture. Did he say anything to you along with that shake of the hand?
If he did, I don't remember.
It's all a blur.
I was pretty excited, yeah, you know, but Mark's, you know, he's a great team player and motivator. And I read an article somewhere, somebody said, you know, Mark's always blaming himself when things don't go right, then he's always giving everybody else the credit when they do, so he's a super guy.
Mark Martin came into the 2009 season wondering if this will be his year. 4 times he's been the runner-up for the championship. The question is, can Alan Gustafson and the 5 crew deliver?
Is there maybe extra pressure knowing Mark Martin's behind the wheel?
Maybe. You know, I think we put a lot of pressure on ourselves, but I'd have to say that, yeah, I want to win worse with Mark, you know, than I probably ever have before it. I know he hates talking about that championship, you know, that he doesn't want, you know, that to define him, and it shouldn't, because, you know, I call him the people's champion. You know, he's the champion regardless. But if you could ever do that with Mark, you know, there's no other, that's the biggest accomplishment you can do in your career.
Now, you mentioned the C-word championship before I did, so
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that? Is that a goal that you've set out for yourself and for this team, knowing the situation, or are you just saying that to kind of fend off the media?
Mark's gonna watch this and be mad at me probably, but that's why I race, you know, that's why I'm here. I don't have a whole lot of superstitions against it. You know, I don't think it's a secret that we're here to win races and win a championship. I mean, that's why we all do this, and that's the focus. And I'd be lying to you if I said that's not why I race. You know, that's why I race.
Is this the year that Hendrick Motorsports brings the 5 team back to prominence in the standings? A lot is riding on the back of 50-year-old Mark Martin.
It seems like the media, and I won't classify myself in that one, but it seems like they say this is the year that the 5 team's going to break out. Is this finally the year that you feel all the pieces are falling into place? I
feel as good now as I ever have, if not better. And, you know, I look back, and we should have won more races. You know, we should have closed the deal more. And that haunts you a little bit. You know, you look back at the opportunities you had to win some races, like, man, shoot, I should have done this or I should have done that. And I think that's where the experience comes. When I was young, you start down, it's like, everybody's, we gotta have experience, gotta have experience. Well, what is experience? It might be motivation, you know? It might be races lost, you know? That may be what's so important. So you say, hey man, when I get that chance, I'm gonna, you know, drive that nail in the coffin, make sure it's closed. So, yeah, I mean, I feel as good as I ever have. We've got a great opportunity. We've already gone through kind of a rough patch at the start of the year. And we've got a great team. And I've said it to my guys before, I don't think we've ever had a better group of guys assembled around in the race team, and we've got a great opportunity. We've just got to take advantage of it.
And the pressure may seem like it's off the 5 team, but it's really just stepping up for them. They do have their eyes set on a championship for 2009. Now, where I am on the racetrack, we are so close to driver intros. Coming around on this commercial break, we'll take you inside the driver intro area. Hermie Sadler and I will have all of those drivers and bring you more from right here at Talladega Super Speedway on NASCAR Race Day.
Bobby Allison with a horrible crash.
He's a winner at Talladega for the 10th time.
And now we're going to be quick with our fantasy picks. Let's take a look at the standings, and they are led by none other than Kenna Wallace. Therefore, Kenna Wallace gets to go first with an accumulation of 1177 points.
It will be a career week for Unadilla, Georgia's David Ragan. David Ragan qualified 10th, won the nationwide race. David Ragan will win today's race.
To Hermie Sadler.
Hey, JR, we've talked about it all weekend long. Hendrick Motorsports going for 4 in a row with 4 different drivers. What any better place in America to get back to victory lane for Dale Earnhardt Jr. He'll do it today, Wendy.
And my pick today is going to be Tony Stewart. That's who's going to win here at Talladega. Now, I do know they didn't qualify so well, but it doesn't matter. I talked to Darian Grubb. They're going to be very conservative all race long, and then, quote, they will let him race the last 20 laps. Look for Tony Stewart to move up. Johnny?
And Wendy, I don't care what he says after races. I don't care what this crowd is going to say to me right now, but Kyle Busch is going to win this race today. Come on, guys, be nice. This is a race car driver who knows how to drive his race car. He's a winner.
Hey, this lady owns this car. She's been in victory lane more than any other owner that I can ever think of. Teresa Earnhardt owns Juan Pablo's Tums dual action. He'll duel them to death today. Starting from the pole, Juan Pablo will win this race today. His first super speedway win.
All right, so Jimmy's got your pole sitter, Juan Pablo Montoya. Best of luck to everybody on the track and in your picks. As we see who has whom, let's now go to Chad Knaus, a guy who has won here before with driver Jimmy Johnson, wants to do it again, and he has our Sunoco pit strategy of the week.
Coming into Talladega, everybody always talks about the big one. That's the main story. But for a crew chief, it's a lot to do with pit strategy. You want to avoid the big wreck for sure, but one of the things you always got to do is you got to make sure that you hang on to the draft. Under a green flag situation here, you can come down pit road and maybe take 2 tires, maybe take gas only, or obviously you can take 4 tires if you want to. But when you take those 4 tires, you're putting yourself in harm's way and potentially losing the draft. So with the Sunoco fuel run being between 45 and maybe 47 laps, and the race being actually 188 laps long, you really got to be cautious. You have to be aware of what's going on around you to make sure you can hang on to the draft and be towards the front at the end of the race.
Chad Knaus, thank you very much for our Sunoco pit strategy of the week, and you better listen to Chad because anytime we don't pick them, you know what? They tend to win. There's AJ Allmendinger and company getting ready with Max Pappas to go racing here at Talladega.
NASCAR Race Day is built by the Home Depot. Visit homedepot.com/spring. More saving, more doing. That's the power of the Home Depot. Brought to you in part by Victory, the new American motorcycle, and by Go RVing. Visit GoRVing.com for a free video. What will you discover? Go RVing.
And welcome back to NASCAR Race Day, built by the Home Depot for our favorite segment of the day, the Lightning Round here at Driver Intros. First up, Ryan Newman. Ryan, I'm guessing you like for today to go just like yesterday, except for the last about 400 feet. How about it?
Yeah, it was a good race yesterday with the Ream Chevrolet. We got the Prelude to the Dream car today, talking about the Prelude to the Dream race June 3rd at Tony's Eldora Speedway. So if we can be in that position again, that'd be great.
These guys, everybody's trying to get in the right position for the last lap. Wendy Venturini.
I'm with David Stremme. Now, David Stremme might possibly have a little swapping with his teammates driver. Sam Hornish might be stepping out of the car due to flu-like conditions. Travis Quapple will be stepping in, but let's talk about your car, David. How is your car going to be? You're starting close to the rear of the field. Are you going to be patient and just hang out there most of the day, or try to get up front as soon as possible?
Well, the Penske Dodge has been really good. All the guys have worked very hard in the engine shop, on the cars in the fab shop, and we had a little problem there in qualifying yesterday, blew the motor up, but our first lap was good enough. It was right there with the pole contention. We just didn't get to finish the second one, but of all places, you starting them back here, and I did last year when I was subbing for Dario, and we got up there and led some laps, so I look to do the same thing today in the Penske Dodge.
All right, good luck to David Stremme. Let's head back over to Hermie Sadler.
We got Juan Pablo Montoya, the pole sitter. We know you got a fast car. How are you going to get it to victory lane?
I'll tell you, I think this Tom's Chevy has been pretty good. Has a lot of speed, and that really helps out, when it comes down to drafting, because you're going to be able to suck to people easier, and people will work with you easier because having a fast car really helps. And I think being up front at the beginning, you can stay out of trouble. So we'll see. We always tend to run well here, and a big thing here is get to the end.
That's the theme of the day, is get to the end there, Casey. Not starting up front, but a pretty good qualifying run for you guys, all things considered. You got some teammates to work with also.
Yeah, no, it's a good thing. Having those other three guys out there is definitely a key. I know talking to them, we all work to get up front, and then once you get up front, you can work together. So hopefully we get that Jack Daniels Chevrolet up front, and it never hurts to be talking to this guy. He sat on the pole, so he's got some good speed in his car too. Should be a fun day. It's nice out. Hopefully everybody stays out of the mess, and we'll have some fun.
Have some fun. How about it, Wendy?
Thanks, Hermie. I'm with Regan Smith, who starts 6th today. Regan, we've talked to you the last couple of weeks. What can happen here at Talladega? What is the goal for you, my friend?
We're just going to see how the race plays out with the French Row Chevy. We've had good cars the past couple weeks, got another good car this weekend, and just want to try and not have the same result as last time.
All right, good luck to Regan Smith. We're going to catch up with Joey Logano. Joey, we're here at Talladega. We know anything can happen. You looked really strong in happy hour. How is your race car? What are you going to expect out of today?
I'm not 100% sure how my race car is, so I don't really have anything to base off of. I was just picking Denny and Kyle's brain and seeing what my car should do, and I think we got a decent Home Depot Toyota. We'll see what we got. We just got to be there at the end and position yourself right like we did in the Nationwide race yesterday, and see if we come out here with a good solid finish.
All right, good luck to Joey Logano. Hey, you guys give him a hard time about a baby face. Look at that, he's got lots of facial hair today. Let's get it over to Hermie.
Yeah, standing by with Matt Kenseth. Matt, I talked to Ryan Newman a little while ago. I said, I bet you want today's race to be just like yesterday's. I'm guessing you, not so much.
No, I'd like to stay on the ground all day. Would be better than yesterday's race. So, yeah, that was a little exciting, a little overly aggressive there probably at the end. But anyway, today's a new day, and we'll try to do better.
Yeah, one Daytona, though, that doesn't help you a whole lot here, but got to give you some confidence at these type of tracks.
Yeah, I mean, our stuff runs pretty good, but, honestly, most people's stuff runs pretty good here. There's not a lot you can do to specialize these cars anymore, and, when you get here and you make a run, it's about what you got. You just got to try to, hopefully, if there's a wreck, miss it, and try to be in position somewhere at the end.
Goal number 1 for Matt Kenseth, stay on all fours, Wendy.
Rocking and rolling here at Driver Intros. We're with Bobby Labonte. He starts 12th today. Bobby has a new crew chief on top of that pit box. How has this week been for you with that communication? Go ahead, take a sip, right?
Yeah. Well, it's been really good. Obviously, here at Talladega, the practice was, first practice was just in race trim, second practice qualifying trim. So, next week at Richmond will be definitely a truer test, and I'm looking forward to it. Ben's got a lot of experience with Ford and all that stuff, so we definitely have a lot of great things with that. And Todd's still on board, working real hard to get everybody at Yates and Hall of Fame Racing working in the right direction to make sure we can just improve our program.
Okay, good luck to Bobby Labonte. And as a real quick, we just wanted to show you Matt Kenseth. He feels really good after taking a nice slide on his lead. We're good to go. Matt Kenseth, good to go today. Let's head back over to Hermie Sadler.
Well, thank you, Wendy. Martin Truex, another fast car for you guys. You going to get it to victory lane today?
Well, I sure hope so. Love racing here at Talladega. We've had some good cars in the past, and we had a great car in the fall, and we got in that wreck running second. So we just really need to get to the end of this race, for the points. But just to try to get to victory lane, I think we can do it if we can just get to the end.
Martin Truex been knocking on the door here to get a win at Talladega. Don't be surprised that it happens today, JR.
Hermie Sadler, thanks a lot. The only thing we know for sure about racing at Talladega is the fact that if you start this race, you have a shot to win it. We want to say a special thank you to everybody here at the Talladega Super Speedway for being so hospitable to us, everybody here on Speed. We want to thank all the fans for joining us out here at the Speed Stage, having a great time today. Drink a lot of water. Be sure you put your sunscreen on because it is hot out here, and the action is about to get very hot on the racetrack. We'll see you tonight in Victory Lane. Thanks for coming along for the ride.